Aviation is more than just flying, it's an incredible life in the sky. Get ready to feel the adrenaline in the air, because today we're bringing you the most epic aviation moments. So fasten your seatbelts, we're taking off. This peaceful landscape is deceiving. At any moment, a low-flying helicopter could zoom through and give you one of the best moments of your life. Here's what proper training looks like. At AirVenture Oshkosh, the A-26 had a front landing gear failure, but no one was hurt. I think watching Sweden's Gripen fighter in a flight is a perfectly valid excuse for being late to work. Pilot 1, did you put the rotor brake on? Pilot 2, no, I thought you did. At hundreds of meters in the air, there aren't many things that could get in a pilot's way. Well, except for birds, which they have to dodge masterfully to avoid a mid-air strike. Girls think guys dream about supermodels, but really all they want is to see an A-10 up close, just like this cameraman. Its legendary sound can only be heard 10 seconds after the GAU-8 Avenger cannon fires. So if you hear a brrr, congratulations, you're not the target. Do you think it was intended, or was he just showing off? An epic race between an ACH-160 and a Renault F1 could have easily been in the Fast and the Furious, but this is actually an Airbus commercial. How would you rate it on a scale of 1 to 10? This video of the F-35 showing off its 40,000 pounds of thrust is absolutely stunning, but the person who filmed this crisp footage is a camera god. It takes dozens of firefighters to stop a wildfire, or just one helicopter carrying 5 tons of water. Check out this absolute pro behind the controls of an F-18. Crazy takeoff and almost a tail strike on the runway with that angle. What are the chances of your plane flipping onto its roof while landing? For the 76 passengers and 4 crew members of Flight DL-4819, it was 100%. Miraculously, no one got hurt. The fire was put out immediately, and the passengers were evacuated in the most unusual way. What's your theory on what happened? Drop it in the comments. Over the course of a 20-minute performance, the Solo Turk aerobatic team pulls off 20 of the most dynamic and complex maneuvers. No wonder they're crowd favorites at every air show. When this guy said he wanted to fly in his dreams, no one realized that he meant this. Fortunately, that dream came true and it all ended well. But seriously, never try something like this. This sunset deserves a 10 out of 10. Wow. But wait a second. Make that 100 out of 10.
Well done!
They had to land during Hurricane Helene, and these pilots pulled off the impossible. What do you think saved them? Luck or skill? They caught Tom Cruise taking a lunch break while filming the final Mission Impossible in Budapest. But seriously, don't try this, not even in your dreams. This scene reminds me of a battle between a T-Rex and a plant-eating Brachiosaurus. The predator may be stronger, but that giant still isn't an easy meal. It's kind of a weird thing, but if all 4 engines are emitting flames, that means the retro Constellation aircraft is in perfect working condition. Old school pilots like Anatoly Kavocher could pull off phenomenal things. Just look at this extremely low-level pass with an Su-30. This pilot was sure he was landing in Munich, but apparently has arrived in Elsa's kingdom? This is pretty much how they shoot insane action scenes for Michael Bay movies, with a few screaming people added in on a green screen. This pro spent over a month rehearsing this stunt just for you to say awesome while watching it on our channel. By the way, don't forget to subscribe. The vintage SNJ-5 survived World War II only to crash on a highway in Southern California. No one was hurt, but the plane was almost entirely burnt to a crisp before the fire could be put out. Can you believe that the pilot of this Su-57 is 62-year-old Sergei Bogdan? He has no plans to retire and keeps impressing everyone at Aero India. A well-coordinated team of professionals isn't hindered by different types of aircraft, as proven by this unique formation loop. Here's footage of an EA-18 Growler crashing into San Diego Bay. Both pilots ejected, and within moments, a fishing boat picked them up just a quarter of a mile from the crash site. I've failed this mission dozens of times in Microsoft Flight Simulator X, but this pilot was able to pull off this epic stunt in real life. For the incredible pilot Kent Peach, landing on the roof of a car is his signature trick, one he's performed at over 400 air shows since 1973. If you've been looking for a perfect vertical landing on a boat for your collection of favorite aviation moments, this is it. This Mad Max is already a pro, but the smokescreen and two bodyguard jets add plus 1,000 style points. To save a stranded climber, a pilot had to land directly inside a canyon. He didn't even damage a single rotor blade. I think that deserves a like. To achieve this level of synchronization, the motorcyclist and the pilot spent months perfecting their skills at the Acro training camp. There are only two acceptable scenarios for flying a smoking helicopter. If you're a Looney Tunes character, or if it's your first time firing it up after a long time in storage, like in this clip. The mirror-like surface of the water creates the illusion that the aircraft is higher than it actually is, and what looked like a spectacular landing turned into a catastrophe. The pilot is fine, but his plane has taken its final flight. No one was happier than the staff at Bangalore Airport when they got to welcome the legendary B-1B Lancer arriving at Aero India. Did you know that the CH-53C Stallion has its own stealth technology? All it needs to become invisible is snow. Watch this son fly step for step with his daddy so that they can both land at the same time. Amazing aircraft fact number 234. When engines are started for the first time at night after being replaced, you can see flames from burning oil, but during the day, it only looks like smoke. This helicopter drank too much water and almost crashed. The reason was a broken indicator of the amount of water, but it's good that the pilots had a lucky day. Plane spotters will spend days at airports to capture breathtaking footage like this. But you can watch it all on our channel. Just subscribe so you don't miss out. If your diving lessons don't look like this, don't invite me. Nothing needs to be said here. Just enjoy the engine start sequence of an F-15C Eagle. This pilot must have nerves of steel, because even though their aircraft was hit by intense crosswinds during Storm Kathleen, they still managed to land successfully. During the day, this would be just another passenger plane, but nighttime and fog transform it into something magically beautiful, like a dragon. Why do people go to air shows? To witness unforgettable moments and get an adrenaline rush, which is what this pro from Guatemala delivers. Now, you've seen how photographers capture all those incredible formations you see in our videos. Would you ever want a job like this? Share in the comments. Sometimes, a good pilot is the one who escaped in time. An F-35 fighter jet broke down in flight and crashed in Alaska. Estimated damage is 81 mil, but thank God the pilot's fine. Here's $1 million tip for spotters. Don't stand behind a jet engine closer than the engineer allows. Even pilots need a moment to stop and reflect on life while gazing at the ocean. No one does this better than Harrier pilots, who can perform vertical short takeoff and landing operations, VSTOL. It's this guy's first flight today, and he's lucky enough to get to experience a Cuban aid. We'll try not to be too jealous. Over the past 100 years, the Goodyear blimp has flown the likes of Ronald Reagan and Ice Cube. But if you haven't seen it up close yet, enjoy. Sometimes spatial awareness fails even pilots. This air show happened only once, behind the scenes of Top Gun Maverick. What will we do without these people during wildfires? Thank you for your service, and may God bless you. It's hard to play hide and seek in the sky, but the Su-27 pilot is doing a pretty good job. When technology fails, sometimes you just have to ask for directions. A military helicopter got lost in a blizzard in Kazakhstan, so the pilot landed to ask which way the city was. Very few professionals dare to fly to this paradise at St. Bart's Airport. That's because it's the world's most dangerous, with a 646-meter runway wedged between cliffs and the ocean. At the Eisenhower Park Aviation event, spectators unexpectedly became part of the show when they had to hold onto the fence after a 90-kilometer-per-hour gust from the CH-53E's rotor nearly sent it flying. No one was hurt, but this moment will be remembered forever. How can you not envy the Thunderbird pilots, who aren't afraid of pulling off stunts like these in multi-million-dollar jets? People like to give Taylor Swift a hard time for flying too much, but just look at how many Ospreys and Blackhawks escort President Trump. Could there be a better recipe for satisfying aviation than a J-16 flying through a breathtaking landscape? Only in Switzerland can you see a plane crossing a road to get to the airport. Get ready for some nostalgia as you watch the legendary Concorde take off. You may never see anything like it again. Feeling down because you don't own a helicopter? Here's something to cheer you up. In zero visibility, a car is much more useful, and the driver can actually help guide the pilot to safety. Over the course of 50 years, the F-15 has gone from a top-secret military project to a crowd pleaser at air shows, and it still looks just as stunning as it did in the 70s. This could be Batman's jet racing to save Gotham City, but it's actually a B-2 Spirit stealth bomber taken off at night with the Las Vegas Strip glowing in the background. It's definitely worth getting soaked to the bone to capture this Marine One smoothly lifting off while slicing through raindrops like a pro. Is there a wildfire somewhere? You can bet the McDonnell Douglas DC-10 is already on its way, with 9,400 gallons of fire retardant on board. This is the farewell flight of the last Martin Mars water bomber after 80 years of service. It's heading to its final home, the Pima Air and Space Museum, PASM, in Arizona. If you've been looking for the fastest and most expensive way to decorate a Christmas tree, this is it. The F-22 bursts onto your screen with a fiery pedal turn to remind you to hit that notification bell and be the first to catch the latest aviation moments. The A-10 Thunderbolt II is basically the Superman of the Air Force. It's so loaded with weaponry that enemies have nowhere to hide, not in the air, on land, or even underground. This is what winning at life looks like. Soaking in the joy of flying with 42,000 pounds of thrust at your back. Aviation has its heartwarming moments too. In 1990, an SR-71 pilot fired up the afterburners just to give a terminally ill fan a final unforgettable sight during training flights. A normal boarding gangway, approaching a Delta 767. An emergency gangway. Let me work just this once! Imagine knowing your Su-57 so well that you can casually pull off insanely dangerous maneuvers with the grace of a balloon. Enjoy this stunning view from the tail cam of an Airbus 321-211. I really hope someone makes an app where we can watch live plane footage 24/7. This Cessna 180 got caught in a strong gust and had a wing strike. Luckily, the pilot managed to recover and land safely on the second attempt. No one was injured. Did you know that the U-2 Dragon Lady spy plane can't land without a chase car? The driver, who must also be a certified U-2 pilot, guides it to a perfect centerline landing. Imagine trying to land on a carrier in an AV-8B Harrier when your nose gear fails and they offer you a stool for support? I'd panic like P. Diddy, but this pilot handled it flawlessly. The moment you hear the legendary brrr, you know exactly which aircraft is flying overhead, even if you can't see it. Would you dare fly a tiny plane that weighs just 68 kilograms? Meet the B-2. It's as easy to assemble as a kayak, except this one actually flies. Are you ready for Battle Creek Field of Flight season? Extreme pilot Skip Stewart sure is. I can't even parallel park when someone's watching, and this pro pilot pulls off an insane crosswind landing like it's nothing. My heart stops every time I watch Henrik Bjorling do crazy stunts in the JAS-39 Gripen with 50,000 spectators cheering at the Flygfesten air show. Think dropping water on wildfires is easy? Water bomber crews have to be incredibly precise, even at 100 kilometers per hour. Even the awesome F-35A can be turned up a notch. Just add fire. The Queen of the Skies, the 747, is about to become history. Boeing is no longer making them, so let's admire them while we still can. It's not just the Blue Angels who can wow a crowd. Solo Turk, the Turkish Air Force's best aerobatic team, specializes in low-altitude extreme stunts. Bombers bring more joy than chocolate. Don't believe me? Just look at the reaction of these people. I know. We've already featured Solo Turk a few times today, but just look at how they dominate the sky. How could we not? Since when does the Hulk have his own plane? Wait, that's just anti-ice fluid, which prevents snow from accumulating on an aircraft and disappears within a few hours. Not everybody gets to wake up to an F-35A as their alarm clock, but the folks in Hunter Valley are incredibly lucky. People will do anything to show their love for their country, but don't worry. This stunt pilot is a pro and has been training for the Jesolo Beach Air Show all year. This camera is so smooth that it looks like a video game cutscene, but it's actually the B-1B Lancer's aggressive return at Aero India with wings in mid-sweep and full afterburners. Do you like to feel intense physical thrills? Well, for Nora Queen, it's just another day at the office. I have no idea how they're going to explain this one to the insurance company, but I'm pretty sure the cost of an entire car wouldn't even cover one propeller repair. A propeller looks like a fan for a reason, because the moment it stops spinning, the pilot starts sweating. But this story had a happy ending for everyone. Pilots are always the same. The second they realize someone's filming them, they turn up the showmanship to 100%. This video perfectly demonstrates that the difference between an A320 and an A380 is way more than just a single digit. I imagine flying a glider with a 20-meter wingspan must feel completely different from flying a plane. If you've done it, drop a comment. The reason these tankers fly so close to the ground is due to the sheer density of testicular mass. Super Scoopers are firefighting legends. They can scoop up over 1,000 gallons of water and drop it precisely on the hottest fire zones. The fog in London is so thick that it can hide an entire Airbus A380, a plane with an 80-meter wingspan. You won't see the Avro Vulcan at air shows anymore. It's been retired for 10 years. But if you were ever lucky enough to hear its distinctive roar, you would never forget it. This is how a legend retires. The last Royal New Zealand Air Force C-130H Hercules touches down at Wigram, its final resting place. A crocodile is probably the last thing you'd expect to see on a deserted road in the middle of nowhere. That's what they call the Mi-24 attack helicopter in Europe, NATO codename Hind. Could there be any more inspiring a gift for graduates of the United States Air Force Academy than an air show featuring the B-2 Spirit? Absolutely not. An experienced pilot turned a childhood dream into reality by building a flying machine with his own hands. But unless you're a pro, please don't try this at home. Work is only 10% action, but 90% training. These rescue planes practice aerial refueling to extend their range and maximize their life-saving missions. If there were a world's strongest helicopter contest, the CH-47F Chinook would be Brian Shaw. This 30-meter beast can easily lift 11 tons. Remember how the Eagles saved Frodo and Sam from Mount Doom? In real life, heroes get rescued by the CH-53 Sea Stallion, which can carry up to 38 soldiers. Can you actually order a C-130 Hercules on Amazon? I wonder if shipping fees for the wings are extra. And that's all for today. Tell us, which aviation moments left a lasting impression on you? And if you love our videos, don't forget to like and subscribe. See ya!